Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is going to be episode 11 of building the Citadel in Lego. In the past couple videos, I've been saying that I was trying to get this mock done for the new year, and obviously I didn't. Unfortunately, with the holiday season, everything was just way too crazy to really be working on Lego. That being said, though, I did get a lot of progress done, which I'm super excited to be able to show you guys. Quick side note though, I just want to give a huge special thanks to my channel members, Daniel Ross Lego and Psycho Stormtrooper. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel, as well as the mocks that I build here, such as the Citadel, channel memberships are a great way to do that. Most of the perks that I offer center around behind the scenes content like posts, updates, and occasionally I'll do some exclusive videos, as well as early access to videos I'll be posting here on the channel. I do also have discounts to my instructions, the models that I have up on Rebrickable. There's discount codes for that, as well as the merchandise now that I have running, which is another great way to support the channel if you're interested. I have a link down in the description. It's powered by Fourth Wall, which is a reputable business, and I'm super excited to be able to launch the new branding. As you can see here, I have a hat. I also have a sweatshirt with the logo up here on the top left corner, as well as on the back. And I have a bunch of different options on my page, so go ahead and give that a look and see if that's something that interests you. And lastly, I want to give a huge special thanks to LightMyBricks for being a sponsor of the series. They sent me a bunch of products in their DIY range, which is what I'm using primarily to light up this mock. With that all being said, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future Citadel progress, and let's get right into it. What I wanted to work on first was putting the Citadel tower back together. It had been a little bit destroyed after the move, so I put everything back together, set it back inside the mock. As you can see, I had to work on the transition from the mountain to the Citadel tower because some of that had also gotten destroyed, but after a while I was able to get it put back together. So I finished putting the Citadel tower back to the way it was before the move, and I went ahead and finished up all of the rock work as well. There were some open spaces towards the top and other places that I just robbed certain pieces. So I went ahead and just finished everything up, got it all back to how it was, and now with a completely flat top. So as you'll notice, there is nothing really going on in the top section yet. Basically, I'm just gonna leave this how it is right now until I go and build up all of the rest of the interior and get the filler in there, and then start working on the actual top section of the Citadel. Then I can go ahead and marry that in however I need to. So now what I'm going to be doing is flipping this mock around again and continue working on the backside. With the mock turned back around, I was able to start working on some of the filler for the inside structure of the Citadel. Because of my limited parts collection, I actually ended up going through a few different designs or techniques for the filler, but eventually I was able to figure it out. Alright, so I made a lot more progress in the filler department, basically just trying to come up with the internal skeleton or structure for the outline of the mock. Over here on the left, obviously you can kind of see where I tried to carve out the curved section for the rest of the extraction zone rockwork. And then over on the right, I have this kind of indent area where the landing zone and all of that stuff with the shuttle is going to be. And then honestly, there's not going to be that much space left unused on the top section of the mock. It's basically just going to be the little section on the left in between the extraction zone and the front side of the mock. So I'm not sure, I might just leave that kind of flat, or like I said a couple videos ago, I might try and do some of the pipeline just to kind of have some other scene there going on, but that remains to be seen. Probably the thing I need to work on is the prison cell, and then I think the other section that I decided to do is just the prison block, kind of the hallway leading up to the prison cell itself. So those are kind of two areas that I think should be represented anyway,
and are going to be different in design from what I already have in the interior. So it will be more interesting for me to build and also help to diversify the interior of this MOC. So that's my plan going forward.
Alright, now it's time to work on the prison cell. As you can see here, I'm currently building the floor, which is basically just black grill tiles over top of trans red plates, so that I can have the red shine up underneath them. Then I strung all of the lighting underneath it, and then brought it up high enough so that it would clear the wiring underneath there. Then I started working on the walls, which gave me so much trouble. This was a whole process of trying to figure out the angle that I wanted on the bottom, and as well as the sides, because it's not an even square wall, it's actually pitched towards the left, so that was a whole thing. And then trying to figure out the actual wall design was another huge pain because it's angled backward, which just makes everything so much more complicated. And I wanted to have a half plate offset for the gray and the black stripes, which adds more visual interest and is also more accurate to the show, but it was just such a headache to get everything to line up correctly. But after a long time, I was able to figure it out.
I don't know how much really came across in that time lapse, but oh my, to get all of these little black stripes, the half a plate offset, and all of that stuff for some reason was just so complicated. Just generally, as we take this is going to be obviously an angled wall, and I'm going to try to have it kind of angled on the base plate as well, which is just going to make the room look, first of all, more accurate, but also larger. This is a really small floor plan, so I'm trying to use the space as well as I can. And basically, this is one wall, it's going to be replicated, and the other one is going to be facing just straight dead on like this. And then there's going to be the staircase going out to the main hallway in the prison section. So I did string this up with lights, so I'll go ahead and turn those on. So basically now this has that really iconic Star Wars prison underglow, red lighting, the whole nine. So I'm really happy with this.
Alright, so now it's time to work on the prison block. I'm adding in a bunch of structure, as you can see here, just using Technic because it's just so much stronger. And then I was able to add in a bunch of black plates to give myself a platform to build off. And I used black because I'm going to be using grill tiles, and then I wanted the black to be visible underneath them. And then I just tiled off the rest of the floor. Alright, so as you can see, I've started to work on more of the prison cell area. This is obviously the prison cell that I showed you guys. I did a little bit more to it, kind of tidied up the walls and built the little steps going into the main hallway, which is going to be this. And then the lights are also pretty simple. Basically, the only lights on the wall are the little control panels on each door. So if I say I do like 4 doors going down, there will only be 4 lights, and then I can just string out whatever I'm doing for the top of the hallway as well, which I already have the lights string over here that I can use for the top kind of hallway shining down, and then also is what is going through the floors here, which you can kind of see they're glowing red. And another thing is, do I want to try to do red illuminating this room? I think I do, just because it's a red glow in this room as well. It's not really white, but also it will just make this room stand out so much more from the rest of the MOC. Everything else is going to be lit up with white lights, so I think if this small little cubby is glowing red, that will really draw attention to it and look pretty cool. So that's where I'm at right now. Hope you guys enjoyed the little time lapse, and I'll just keep on going. I quickly came up with a design for the wall, and then moved on to working on the rest of the doorway into the prison cell, which was basically using a bunch of big slopes to match the angles, and then using some jumper plates and tiles to finish off the floor. And then for the top, I wanted to build another snot roof, the same way I have been doing the rest of the rooms inside the Citadel. So I put some snot bricks on the side and then added on a bunch of bricks, leaving a clear area where I can add in lights. I ended up changing the clear for trans red because I wanted this to glow really red. And then moving on to the other side of the hallway, I replicated the same door that I've been using in MOC, and then I moved on to the section of wall just beyond that. And I built up the same kind of wall structure with the snot bricks so that I could tie it in to the other side. And then I went and finished the top section above the door. Then it was time to finish up the hallway design. So I built up this little wall on the backside with a bunch of long 1x bricks. And this is basically just what the wall rests up against. And then I added in the wiring, kind of figured out where it needed to be, snaked it through that wall that I just made. And with that, the hallway was basically done. I just needed to tackle the roof. So this was the same exact kind of technique that I've done in the other rooms on the Citadel, but this time I was able to use some other supports. As you can see, those little sand green sections on the side just add so much support, and I'm really happy I was able to do this. Then I just had to quickly finish up the little section right above the doorway and then finish out the rest of the ceiling. And I was able to reuse the same kind of piping details that I had on the end of the bottom one as well, so that worked out really nice. And then the last thing to do was just string up the rest of the lights. Alright, so I finally finished the interior of the Citadel. As you can see in the time lapse, obviously I finished up the prison section over here, as well as the main prison block area with all the doors going down the hallway and everything. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. At first, when I was building it, it didn't feel like it was up to the same standard as the rest of the interior, and I think that's still true. I definitely put more time and effort into the bottom hallway. However, I also had more time to spend on it. At this point, I wanted to have this MOC done by the new year, and obviously it's almost the second week in January now and it's still not done yet, so I am going to be speeding up a little bit, but I still want to keep the level of detail pretty high on the build. So sections like the prison over here, I definitely spent a lot of time getting all the angles and everything right, and I still think that this holds up pretty well, and especially with all of the lighting and everything, I do like the way that it turned out. Honestly, the biggest thing that bothers me is that I didn't have space to make the wall curve out and then go back in at the top, which is basically the main architectural style of the Citadel, and especially the prison block area in the Citadel. It definitely has that. However, I needed to keep this as low as possible because when I go to do the shuttle, which is going to be basically right on top of here, the landing pad, I need there to be at least a decent amount of height difference from the landing pad and the actual top of the mountain work and everything, so that I can have the doorway and the area with turrets and everything. So I needed to keep this pretty low, otherwise I definitely would have made it probably twice as high and had that other angle slanting out towards the top, but I am still pretty happy with it. I incorporated as many of the details as I could. It is a pretty plain area. There's not really that much going on. Basically, the main things are obviously the doors, and this one is open because this is the prison cell with Tarkin, but I have the doors going down all the way. I have the little control panels, and then I have these kind of angled support beams that go all the way down. So that's really all that I could pull from the Citadel. There wasn't really a whole lot going on there. So unfortunately, it does make it look less detailed and intricate than the rest of the rooms, but I think the architectural style kind of matches. And one of the things I'm actually really happy about is on the outside here, when I got to the bottom of the first one, there was a half plate gap, and it was really bothering me. At first I just wanted to tile it, but that really bothered me, having it stick out or stick in. So what I did was I just ended up doing this kind of piping detail, looking kind of like a cross section, I guess, of what might be going on in the actual ceiling area. And I wasn't really super happy with it, but at that point I kind of just needed to move on to something else. But now with the same exact thing going on at the top, I actually really like it. I think it brings so much symmetry to it. It really helps to bring it all together and make it feel like one cohesive design. So I'm actually very happy with it. And honestly, I think it's going to look really, really cool when everything is all built and all the walls are done and everything is nicely polished off. Seeing the different kind of interior rooms is going to look really cool, I think. So just pulling out here, even just now, you can see it just looks so interesting. Everything is at a different height, and it just looks so cool. I mean, this is one of the main driving factors that even made me want to do the Citadel in the first place. This isn't exactly what I had in mind. I can go ahead and throw up the drawings that I had done. Basically what I wanted was, originally I wanted to just have little scenes that would kind of slide into predetermined slots, and that ended up getting dropped for the kind of hallway design wrapping around, which is kind of what I went for, but I ended up ditching that as well in favor of kind of a blend of the two, because when it came to this bottom hallway here, it was going to be almost impossible to make that return in the corner. So basically what I ended up doing was just having a hallway down here at the bottom, and then a separate hallway over here, and then now we have another hallway, but this one kind of leads into the other one. So basically the way that this is kind of laid out now is this is the first scene, kind of going along the bottom. They got surrounded on either side with commando droids, and they end up blasting their way out. And then over here, this is the second scene, which kind of goes right after that one. They run down the same kind of hallway, and then they encounter the magnet trap, where again they get surrounded by commando droids, but this time obviously there is the magnet trap as well added onto that. And then after they clear that, they end up going up here to the main prison block area to free Evan Peel. And I decided to build the prison cell with Captain Tarkin and the clone officers, just because I thought that that would be more interesting than doing the plain one with only Evan Peel and the interrogator droids. So this is basically the way that I set up the interior. And then obviously the next scene is going to be on top of here with the shuttle and obviously Echo's apparent death. And then the last scene will be way over there, which is the extraction zone. And I guess technically the first scene is way over on the other side where they climb up the wall. So that was my idea with this MOC, to have all the different kind of major scenes from the Citadel arc represented in one large scale MOC. And I think I executed that pretty well, or am executing that pretty well. So at this point, really all that I have to do is finish building up this wall, bring it all level here, build the landing pad, and then I can start working on the walls and everything. The top is really just going to be plated and tiled off. I'm not really going into any detail up there. And then after that, the only thing left is to do the big rock wall, the curved rock wall for the extraction zone. And I guess before I finish out the video, I can go ahead and throw on the lights. I mentioned this in the last video, but it looks like they're flickering because of the frame rate of my camera. They aren't actually flickering. They are static lights. But yeah, as you can see here, I do have the control panels illuminated in the prison block, as well as a few lights. I made sure to add a few less lights on this section than the regular hallway, just because this is supposed to be darker, although it is higher, so it's going to get more light from my studio lights, so that probably will kind of cancel each other out. So I did try to make it look a little bit darker though. And then over here on the prison cell, as you can see, it is also glowing red. Unfortunately, the red lights are a lot dimmer than the white ones, so it's not as striking as I would like. But I think when I go to do final pictures and video for this section, I'll just kind of turn down the rest of the lights in the room so that the lights in the MOC will shine that much brighter and stand out a little bit more. So I am really happy with how all of this is turning out. And with that all being said, we'll go ahead and wrap up the video. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up episode 11 for building the Citadel in Lego. Got a ton of progress done on the MOC, just things that needed to be done before I could make any other further progress. So now I think I'm set up pretty well to be able to finish out the MOC. I am going to try to focus on making the next video the finale for the series, have everything done, but we'll just have to see how that goes. I am definitely going to be trying to finish this by the end of January because I really want to start on some new projects and ideas. As you guys probably noticed, I did rebrand my channel a little bit. This is basically just my attempt at branching out from exclusively Star Wars. I am obviously still going to be a mainly Star Wars channel, but I have some ideas and other projects that I really want to try out, and they just don't really fall under that Star Wars category. So I came up with this new logo, which can kind of branch out and cover all varieties of topics, as well as be a nice little inconspicuous kind of merch symbol. So that was my idea with that, and I'm super excited to be able to launch some new projects coming this year. But with that all being said, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching and supporting the series and the channel in general. It means a lot to me, and I'm just super excited to be able to finish up the Citadel and show you guys the finished product. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe so you don't miss out on the finished product for the Citadel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.